Alright everyone, welcome back and it's time to go balls deep, and today we are going to discuss Tomura Shigaraki, the leader of the League of Villains, the main antagonist of My Hero Academia, the one and only person personally mentored by All For One himself to carry on the symbol of fear, the exact antithesis to the symbol of peace. I will explain Shigaraki's backstory regarding his past, his appearance and why he uses hands, his quirk and its power, maybe some more facts here and there, so you have been warned anime only guys, this is a spoiler. Minor spoilers of course, since I'm only discussing Shigaraki's backstory, so decide for yourself if it's worth it. I personally think it is of course, but you know, each to its own. As most of you guys know, I analyze everything about characters including their names, since manga creators put a lot of emphasis into them as they are metaphors. In the case of Shigaraki, we should start with his past and origin, to better understand the name Horikoshi has bestowed upon him. Now Shigaraki's origin starts with his grandmother Nana Shimura, the mentor to All Might and the previous holder of One For All. Shigaraki never actually met his grandmother, as she died fighting All For One when Shigaraki's father was just a child. Due to this tragic event in Shigaraki's dad's past, he came to hate heroes because he was torn apart from his mother, who was protecting this so-called peace, but in the process his peace was taken away. Tomura Shigaraki's father, whose name was Kotaro Shimura, who was given up by his mother, developed a deep resentment towards his mother, feeling as though she selfishly abandoned him for the sake of strangers. This resentment eventually grew into hatred for all heroes, viewing them as selfish individuals whose actions only serve to harm their own families. Now let's think about Kota Izumi for a second. He had a similar experience and outlook until Deku proved that not all heroes are the same against Muscular. So they have a similar experience, but Kotaro seems a bit more extreme and selfish in my eyes. Now even after this intense hatred Shigaraki's father had against heroes, young Shigaraki defied this ideal and had a great fascination with heroes, and even wanted to become a hero one day himself. He even goes as far to say that his father's ideals was against everything that Shigaraki was and wanted to become in the future. This clash of ideals caused Shigaraki to be faced with a lot of abuse in his family. Unfortunately, he was often locked out of the house, beaten brutally and basically made to feel worthless. And add the fact that he wanted to become a hero yet hadn't unlocked his quirk yet, one can only imagine the mental stress Shigaraki was facing at such a young age. Tomura's father Kotaro did not tolerate this attitude, and his son started to suffer from unknown physical changes in his body. In chapter 234, even going to the doctor, his mother would notice his condition was getting worse. Initially, Tomura believed not everyone in his house was an asshole, as his mother and grandparents were always there for him to encourage him. His sister was also very supportive of him. However, moving on, in chapter 235, one day when Tomura was punished again by his father, he started to feel like his family's support was a fallacy, as they watched him being punished over and over and over again with abuse, but did nothing about it, just to see him suffer on a daily basis, stopping him from achieving his dreams. Before we get into that, however, in chapter 234, one day, mysteriously, Shigaraki is brought home by an ominous man wearing a suit. I wonder who that could be. Wait a minute, this kid is outside on his own at the age of 5, and some dude wearing a suit and a fedora drops him off at home, and his mother is like, I'm so sorry my boy was bothering you. What kind of parenting is that shit? No wonder he is so handy when he grows up. But we all know who likes wearing suits, right? All For One, of course. In chapter 235, there is a random panel specifically showcasing this man dropping Shigaraki off. I will explain a theory in a minute about why All For One did this. Moving on, one day Shigaraki's sister gets a hold of a picture of Nana Shimura with their father, leading to Shigaraki finding out that his grandmother was a great hero. This makes Shigaraki joyful and he glees, showcasing the one and only panels where Shigaraki Shigaraki is seen truly happy in the manga. But this happiness does not last a long time. As soon as his father finds out they had been tampering with the picture, all hell breaks loose, fam. The father was like, "Ah, hell nah, you were tampering with that picture with that bitch." And then he gets Shigaraki a brutal beating from his father, so cruel that it might have led to Shigaraki unlocking his quirk. One might think that this was a good thing, that this poor child riddled with abuse and betrayal finally had something good going on by getting his quirk. But staying on brand with the sad nature of Shigaraki's life, Shigaraki finds out his abilities through his dog decaying away right in front of his eyes. Bruh. With a shock of disbelief and the cruel truth of his reality. Furthermore, his sister comes outside to apologize to Shigaraki for framing him and telling their father that it was him that took this picture and blamed all of that and this is what caused his suffering. But then she sees the decayed carcass of their dog and starts yelling and running. Shigaraki holds onto his sister and instantly she is shattered into ash. He then puts his hand on the ground, not knowing what had just transpired and what he was going to do next. The ground suddenly starts reacting to his touch and starts quaking. This causes his grandparents and mother to get the same fate as his sister earlier. They all die. But not only this, but his father walks outside after all this noise. He saw what had happened and starts apologizing to Shigaraki and tells him to stop. But Shigaraki was having none of this and leaps onto him and kills him instantly. Tomura says that the intent of killing his father was actually on purpose, whilst the others were a mistake. When he manifested his quirk, that itching feeling he has till this day was always bothering him. And when he finally gave into this itching feeling by killing the one person that caused all his suffering in his life, it actually went away for that moment. This tragic event caused Tomura to become homeless and fend for himself. He realized that no one was helping him because people thought that the heroes would take care of him. Nobody came to his aid. With his brittled and collapsed mental state, All for One reached out to him and lent a helping hand. But not one hand, but all the hands of Shigaraki's family. He used this to manipulate Shigaraki into becoming his puppet and later on carry on his mantle as his adopted son. For example, there were some street thugs who bullied Tomura Shimura when he was fending for himself. After Shigaraki met All for One, he was told to go back and kill those street thugs, which he reluctantly did, no questions asked. This event encapsulates the change Shigaraki went through during his childhood, as he accepted his fate and the itching feeling to become who he wants to be. He was a kid who idolized heroes and wanted to become one and help others, but after some tragic events and calculated manipulation, he turned into a machine for All for One. Now, let's kick the sad stuff out of the way. Well, maybe not, but let's talk about Shigaraki's name. Most of us probably know him by Tomura Shigaraki, right? However I pronounce it, you guys know my Japanese is god awful and I'm butchering all of this shit and you're cringing and you're like, oh my god, if he messes this up one more time, I'm clicking off this video, I hate this guy. Guys, please forgive me, right? But anyway, back to the point. Before becoming Shigaraki, his name was actually Tenko Shimura. After joining One for All, his name was changed to Tomura Shigaraki that I have been saying throughout the whole video. Tomura means to mourn, used when grieving or saying goodbye to the dead. It's as if his name is a constant reminder of his past, which he mourns, but at the same time a signal to move forward and say goodbye to his past and the person that he used to be, where he wanted to be a good person, because now he's utterly evil. And regarding his last name Shigaraki, it is basically the last name of One for All himself. The last name Shigaraki is there also to show him that he still has someone who cares for him and give him a sense of purpose that he lost, leading him to become a villain after One for All. The first kanji for the villain name, Shi, which means death. The second one is Gara, which means pattern. However, the meanings of this kanji include handle, grip, and shank. So we all pretty much know that the metaphor of Shigaraki's name right now, it pretty much suits his character in recent times. But his original name, Shimura, means to fall down, roll over, and arc. So Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, again put a lot of thought into the metaphor of his character, as the fall down arc of him, Shimura, changed into him becoming Tomura Shigaraki, right? Now, a theory regarding Shigaraki is that All For One manipulated him from the very start to destroy his own family to become a villain. Since All For One is a sociopath, he would want to get the best revenge story against Nana Shimura that he could possibly produce. In the recent chapters 255, All For One literally states that it's like making wine, trampling the grapes to extract their juice. I merely want you to keep enjoying these delightful flavors. Now, obviously, he is talking in context to the Nomus, but I think he means everyone beneath him as well. As a metaphor, realistically, Shigaraki is the finest and best of wines that will produce the best results for All For One, as he manipulated him for 15 years. As we all know, wine tastes better once it ages. Therefore, Shigaraki is that person. There is no way All For One did not know Shigaraki was Nana's grandson. He must have gathered intel, right? All For One would want Nana's family to perish, and he made her own grandson Shigaraki's quirk touch them after manifesting his quirk in order for him to kill them by accident. On top of that, we know the doctor works for him, so when they went to the doctor in chapter 234, that doctor could have gave that intel to All For One and said, look, he's about to manifest a quirk that is DK, he can kill his own family, and that's going to be absolutely insane. Also, another fact is that All For One just happens to be there in the aftermath. Thirdly, he had a room already for him as soon as they arrived, and he grabbed him to help. Not to mention that if those hands were members of his family, why the hell did All For One gather them afterwards and knew how to get them after the incident? How did he gather the hands of his family? That means that he was in on the incident, and he's the man that dropped him off earlier in chapter 234 in that suit, right? He must have manipulated this situation. Anyway, that's just a theory for now, a balls deep theory that will in time come true. Moving on, let's talk about his appearance, right? Shigaraki's appearance is quite striking at first. With all the hands covering his body and face, it's quite intimidating, but at the same time also highlights the true psychotic nature of his character. I mean, who walks around wearing the dead hands of his family, right? His appearance not only lays hints to his personality, but also lays a foundation to what the League of Villain represents. A gang of downright crazy individuals with tragic pasts and lives clinging to one last purpose, just like the hands on Shigaraki. We can also dig deeper and figure out more about the League through the hands. All of the hands are zombie-like and embalmed by Daruma, the doctor. The zombification of the hands represents the one purpose-based model of the villains, to strike fear on people and dismember the heroes. Not only this, but the hands are also a constant reminder of his past, to make him never forget the remorse and anger he feels towards society. Each hand is of Shigaraki's family and people he killed when his quirk first manifested. The hands in his arms are his grandfather's. The pair on his forearms are his grandmother's. His wrists are covered in his sister's hands, and the hands in his chest and shoulders are from the two thugs he killed, as ordered by One For All. The pair on his neck is his mother's, and finally the hand on his face is his father's left hand. His father's right hand was destroyed by Shigaraki, but Daruma the doctor later created one for his head, which is connected to his mother's hand on the neck. However, this is not all regarding Shigaraki's appearance. Currently at age 20, Shigaraki has a pale and wrinkly look with his pale blue hair. His look resembles a zombified puppet, which represents another metaphor of what he is, but as a child he bore a strong resemblance to Midoriya. He had black hair, dark circle things on his eyes, and just look at these two side by side, they look very similar. But when his quirk manifested, his look changed and now he looks like a dead man walking. There is a lot more hidden meaning behind Shigaraki's look, so if you want me to go extra balls deep into his appearance, let me know by commenting down below or letting me know on my Twitter. And by the way, since you have made it this far into the video, how about hitting the like button and the notification bell to support my channel, right? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You learned about his past, you learned why he has the hands, you learned another theory about what is going to happen in the future, because balls deep prediction theory is just too powerful, you know what I'm saying? So I hope I see you guys next time. As always, bye bye.